Guys, Allie Bloyd here, and I'm so excited to bring you another episode of Marketing Inc. Today, we are going to be talking about how your local business or you as a local marketer can develop a really effective content plan. So first off, what is a content plan? A content plan is simply a plan that you develop that allows you to understand where you are posting content, what topics need to be created, how frequently you're posting that content, and really any other details that will allow you to structure this in a way that helps you actually execute. That's one of the biggest problems that I see with people when trying to develop content is that they actually have no plan. So their content plan essentially becomes, when I feel inspired, I'm going to post something. When I have the time, I'm going to write something. The problem with that is that it doesn't actually feed into your overall strategy. It tends to be inconsistent. And as business owners, we don't have huge amounts of free time typically. So it is something that just gets pushed on the back burner, unfortunately. Why does your content plan really matter? Well, the number one reason that I could tell you about content in general is that it will help to develop the strongest possible audience and really deepen the connection that you have with your customers, leads, or prospects. Ads themselves don't really build relationships. Depending on the type of advertising you're doing, it may be a little bit stronger, such as video ads. But overall, your ad is simply asking for something. What you want to do is provide value, provide education, give people a reason to think about you, give people a reason to share your content with others, which will expand your audience and allow you to reach new people without even having to pay for it sometimes. So content is a very important part of the strategy that we utilize internally and with our clients. That content could be a social media post, could be blogs, could be emails, or video content. All of these things can really work from the same content plan. A big misconception is that you have to have something completely unique for every social platform, for every video, email, and blog, and that's simply not the case. What you need to do is develop a plan, develop a strategy that will not only allow you to have very clear guidelines in terms of what you'll be talking about and when you'll be talking about it, but also a repurposing system. So I'm not going to be able to get into all of the details of a content repurposing system today, but it's very important that you have one because ultimately it will allow you to get the most bang for your buck, so to speak. Anybody who's investing time in their marketing, time is money. If you're spending way too much time, you're not getting a great return on investment. So the goal should be to put out as much quality content as possible in the shortest amount of time, which is where repurposing comes in. So in terms of the topics, that really needs to be where we begin. Topics are critical to your content plan. A big mistake that I see businesses making is doing nothing but talking about themselves or talking about their own business or the tools within their business, when ultimately all the consumer cares about is what's in it for them. So your focus should obviously tie into what you do, and at times can be very directly promotional or talk about specific processes or tools that you use. But overall, the focus should be about what your audience wants to hear as opposed to what you want to give them, okay? For example, when we create a content plan for a client, we start off by identifying the core categories that make sense for us to discuss. If you are somebody that's in a business that is really fun, for example, you may already feel like you have a ton of ideas. But there's so many businesses out there that they just don't. One of our students in the local marketing mastery program is a running store. So for a running store, you may think that all you can talk about is running and running shoes. What are the different types of running shoes? How do you know what the right size is for you? There is so much content that can be shared from a running store to really engage their audience and also sell more products. So, topics that we would discuss in that running store's content plan would be, of course, running, but it would also be physical fitness, it would also be exercise, could also be health, it could be cooking and nutrition. It could be the outdoors, since running is done outdoors. It could be about family. I mean, family is something that a large population of any audience is going to have. You can tie that into how to encourage your kids to start running, things that you can do actively as a family, how to improve the health of your children. So there's a lot of different things. You could also talk about just healthy habits, which could be sleeping or resting or meditation. Any of those things ultimately ties into the core purpose of the business, which should be to help its community get healthier. So as you can see, that mission is not just about running. There's so many bits and pieces of information very specific to running that you could provide. But there's also these other categories that really will serve your audience. That is the type of content that is shared. That's the type of content that is consumed. That's a great content type to send out in weekly emails without feeling like you're bothering your list. You're providing them real value. You're giving them tips and solutions and answers to their questions. That is what your content plan should be designed for. The next thing that we really want to look at, outside of just engaging that audience with topics that matter to them, are topics that will help us identify new prospects at the right time in the process. So if we go back to the running store example, we would really be looking to capture brand new runners, people who are just getting involved in running. People who are existing runners, marathon runners, they already know about this store. There's a different strategy for those people, and that's more of encouraging them to buy more frequently, really engaging them and ascending them in a different way. But for these people, they may have never stepped foot into a running store before, and they may really not know if it's for them. So how can we use content to identify an avatar at the right time in the buying cycle? The way that we like to do that is through appropriate content topics. For example, if my video is titled 3 things that brand new runners can do to stick with it longer, okay? There's so many topics like that we could talk about, but for that one, for instance, we're saying brand new runners, so that's going to allow a brand new runner to self-identify with your content, and we're saying we're going to give them tips to stick it out longer, which is a big goal for them. In the beginning, they want to stick with this. Maybe they've tried and failed at 10 other different types of exercise. So we're tying into their deep need. We're also tying into who they are and where they are in the process. If this was for a marathon runner, it could be 3 ways to decrease your marathon times and finally win first place. I mean, those are completely different topics for completely different avatars for the exact same business. So if someone is watching my video about 3 ways brand new runners can stick with it longer, if they're watching a decent portion of that video, we have a pretty good idea that they're a brand new runner and that they're looking to really get into this and succeed with this. Because of that, we can then retarget that video views audience with an ad that is not directed at everyone. Again, let's cut out the one-to-many approach. We want to give them an ad that talks about them as a new runner and things they need to know as a new runner and what this store can help them do. It's obviously going to talk about the fact that to succeed in running, you need the right pair of shoes that fits the right way, that's going to help with the type of running and the frequency of running that you plan on doing, and that we want to give them a new client special. We really want to jumpstart their success. So there's several offers that business could give to that person. But now hopefully you can see how that content topic is really going to help us identify who that person is and what offer is going to be most relevant to them. There's also an example of a chiropractor. If a chiropractor wanted to create an offer for pregnant women, which I highly encourage any chiropractors listening to think about this, because it's what we call a triggering event. Triggering events are something else that you need to think about in your content. Are there any triggering events that I could cater my content to? What a triggering event is something that happens in their life that makes them open to the possibility of your product and service, maybe for the first time. So for pregnant women and the chiropractor, for example, I'm somebody who has gone to the chiropractor for most of my life. I've had times when I go very heavily, and I've had years where I didn't go at all. When a woman gets pregnant, however, health is a much more serious topic because it's not just you anymore. You're thinking about the health of your baby. Well, there's also a lot of aches and pains that can occur during pregnancy. So prenatal adjustments are something that most women are pretty common or pretty familiar with. And those that aren't may come across information about it in their research of pregnancy in general. They're going to be going to classes. They'll be talking to other pregnant moms. You'll hear them talking about going to a chiropractor. Well, if I were a pregnant woman, maybe I've never thought about going to the chiropractor before, but I am interested in my health right now. If I saw an ad or a piece of content that was talking about, we'll stick with the 3 tips format, 3 ways that you can improve your physical fitness as an expecting mother. Okay. That piece of content is not directly promotional in what I do, but it is going to interweave with my products and services. I'm obviously going to talk about prenatal adjustments in that content, but I'm also allowing someone to tell me if they're interested in that by consuming my content. That could be watching the video, engaging with the post, reading the blog, opening the email, whatever it is. Now that I know who that person is, I can send them my offer for a prenatal adjustment and complimentary massage for their first visit. Okay. The offer is tailored to the avatar, so the content needs to be tailored to the avatar. If we're just putting that content out to everyone, we're still going to be able to reach those people, but you also need to make sure that you're targeting for the content when you are promoting it is actually going to the people that would be most likely to be in that group. So you're going to be looking at women between a certain age, and sometimes there can be other interests or demographic information that you would use to help identify that. But just because someone's in that demo doesn't mean they're interested. It doesn't mean that triggering event has opened their mind to anything new. So we want to use the content to tell us who those people are. A triggering event is also great in terms of lifetime value because there are a lot of businesses such as the chiropractor and the prenatal adjustments that if you get that woman in at that time, you develop that relationship with her. She may have never been to the chiropractor before, but you're going to be talking to her about the benefits after she gives birth, about the benefits to her child. You could essentially have 2 lifetime customers from that one offer or that one piece of content ultimately. When I myself was pregnant and looking for a chiropractor that specialized or had something really specific for pregnancy, I found myself just really struggling to find anyone that appeared like they could help me. And I'm sure there were plenty of chiropractors out there that could have helped me that do have services like this, but they had no content about it, not on their website, not on their blog, not on their social media profiles. So I, as the consumer, had no way of knowing. This is a great way to attract a new audience, to establish yourself as an authority, and to really improve the quality of your ad results because you know that these people already have an interest in it. This is not the first time they're hearing from you, and you've already kind of gotten those wheels turning in their brains with your content. Content can be extremely powerful in simply convincing someone or just planting the seed that your product or service is what they actually need. So again, we've got a way to engage clients or leads that will just give them great information without being promotional. It's also going to help you identify brand new prospects, and it also can help you ascend current clients or even past clients to get them back into your pipeline. So again, topics need to be focused on them and what they need to know, not just about you. They don't necessarily care about what's in your office or what type of tools and instruments you do. They need to know what's in it for them, okay? Think about tying in your topics to as many triggering events as possible. Another example could be a personal injury attorney, okay? Maybe they're focusing on workers' comp. I had this discussion with someone not that long ago. And the thing is that you want to gain a new prospect or client at a moment when they're not talking to anyone else in your field. They're not competing. They don't have multiple consultations scheduled. There isn't a group of people that are vying for their business yet. So a way to do that is to use content and triggering events by talking about the exact moment in time where you want to capture that person. So if we're talking about workers' comp, a great way to do this could be to say, will you automatically be fired if you file a workers' comp claim? Okay. That content topic is speaking to a person who has not yet filed a claim. If they're watching or clicking or reading or engaging, they just may feel like they have a claim they want to file, but they're reading it because they're not sure if it's going to be something that will get them fired, and they're nervous about that. So keep that in mind. There's so many ways to identify people at the right moment in time that will allow a much easier conversion, but also really develop a stronger relationship with that person. So if I give you this quick overview of what you can do to develop more content, better content, content that's going to engage your audience, you need to start with a physical content plan. We may do an episode specifically on how we build these, but you want to come up with a lot of topics all at once so you're not having to rely on content topic ideas in order to publish. The second thing I would recommend is to start with video. The reason is because I encourage you to do video anyway, but you can transcribe those videos, turn them into emails, turn them into blogs, turn them into social posts. It becomes much easier to repurpose that content when you start with a long form piece of content. You also want to make sure that you have someone that's responsible and accountable for this. Put it on a calendar. When are these things going to publish? When do these things need to be created? Who's going to proof them? What is that process going to be? You also want to take a look at any of the tools that you may need to either create this content or schedule this content. Canva is awesome for graphic design and graphics and images. We have used Hootsuite, we've used Meet Edgar. Agorapulse is a great option in terms of social media schedulers. Sometimes it's really going to be personal preference, but those are three that you could look into. And then you really need to think about, okay, what types of video recording equipment or apps am I going to need in order to make this happen really easily? We're definitely going to have another episode that focuses specifically on how to create video content easily, but things like the InShot app, that's one of my favorites. It's very simple. Getting something like a ring light or a Bluetooth microphone, those are also really simple, great options for quick video creation. You really need to understand that your content does not need to be perfect. It just needs to be relevant and engaging to your audience. So start publishing, get it out there, let your audience tell you based on their actions which types of content they prefer, and then move forward in those directions in the future. You're going to get so much insight just from seeing what your audience really likes. So there you have it. What is a content plan? Why does it matter? What are some of the things that you should consider? If you are struggling with putting together a content plan or executing a content strategy, I would absolutely love to talk with you. We have several different options that we offer to clients, to students that help them create and execute these things. So if you would like to discuss that, go ahead and visit my website, alliebloydmedia.com, schedule a call, and we can talk about what's going to be a good fit for you. Thanks so much for listening today, and I can't wait to see you on the next episode.